Hello and welcome to the Wildcat Sanctuary, a white Wildcat Sanctuary. And if there were any two rescued residents to be enjoying a winter day here in early spring, it would be none other than Eurasian Lynx and Bobcat Mondovi. Welcome everyone. KDT saying good morning. Good morning right back at you, KDT. Hope all is well wherever you are checking in from. All is well here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, just a little whiter, as I mentioned. Hello, Lois! Love to see how excited you are to be joining us. Marcy Sanborn's here. Good afternoon, Marcy. Good afternoon, Paula Wiley. Checking in from Maryland. Hope all's well out east. I think you were getting some snow as well, so I hope you're safe and dug out and warm. Betty Winter here. Hey, Betty. What a fitting last name, too, Betty. Daniel, what's going on, Daniel? Stay warm. I am, Daniel. I'm staying warm. The voice of TWS. I'll keep my voice warm. I should have worn a scarf even. Gargle some warm salt water. But that's right, Daniel. I'm going to stay warm today because I want to do, I don't want to pussyfoot around. I want to have a full-on sanctuary stroll. I have my snow boots on. I have my bibs on. I have a microphone. I got a phone with full battery. I want to strut my stuff all over the Wildcat Sanctuary and see what the snow is up to, what the cats are up to, and just check in with everyone on a good sanctuary stroll. And so to that point, I want to kind of cover some ground. So if you can imagine, I'm in Wildcat Pines right now. I would like to end up all the way down in Red Zone near Pride Prairie. So if that darn internet gets the best of us, just stick with me. I'm not going to end the live post. But just stick with me until it pings back in and you can join back in successfully. But again, I want to have a good old sanctuary stroll where we kind of go from stem to stern here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Start up top and then go down low. And glad to be starting with Aria Mondovi here today. So let me get in, say hi to the folks. Daniel there again. Rosie P, good afternoon, Rosie. Kathy Barton here saying hello to everyone in the TWS Kitties. Hey, Kathy. Belinda Dessinger. Hey, Belinda. Nancy Bradham. Hey, Nancy. Carrie Miller's here. It is Wednesday. Happy hump day, by the way, everyone. Sue Button checking in from the UK. Maria Vaughn is here. Look at that. Such a lovely crowd here. Kathy Silva. Glad to have you, Kathy. Lois Dixon, Minnesota. It is springtime. Yep, you see some big, heavy, wet, chunky snow. That's not me. That's, of course, it's a new little thing. If I zoom in, flicks it around to me. Of course, when I say wet and chunky, it flips to me. That's not, I hope that's not appropriate. Brooke Holt saying hi to everyone. Brooke, hope all is well. And how fitting, Brooke, to have you dropping out on this live post as this week we're highlighting our internship program here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. So, Brooke, one of our former media interns who kicked butt here for the cats, just like all the interns before her. And glad to have you with us, Brooke, and hope all is well in Montana. And Marcy, I am under the impression that I have jinxed you. Me and Mother Nature are in cahoots, and it looks like you have 2 feet of snow in your neck of the woods. Yowzer. That is a lot. Aria Mondovi, they said, yeah, we didn't have to deal with that much snow. I'd say after it's all said and done, we probably got about 11 inches of snow. You can see Aria Mondovi, they kind of had their pathways shoveled, kind of through their habitat. It was kind of topped off throughout the day yesterday as it kind of kept flurrying. Certainly imperative with the habitats with skywalks, tall platforms, is for us to clear the snow off of those. So Aria Mondovi, they have their skywalks already cleared off. Looks like they left a little pillow for Aria, if you will, at the end of her skywalk. But it's been a busy kind of 48 hours here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, and then some, as kind of during the snowstorm. Maybe we weren't getting ahead on the snow removal, but we're monitoring the conditions of the storm. We were a little nervous that it was going to be kind of a whopper, like one of the last spring storms we had last year. So glad that didn't happen. But like I said, we ended up with about 8 inches of snow, and I am looking forward to a good old sanctuary stroll so we can see what the snow is up to, what the cats are up to. Sue Button, maybe another snow angel, maybe another snow angel. Well, you got to put a smile on our face when we're when we're getting hot and sweaty in the cold, shoveling snow. So I'm glad that I got to drop down for a little snow angel there, and kind of reliving my childhood too, if you will. So let's get this party started. I think we'll go this way. And I think you'll be able to see, it's kind of almost a sight for sore eyes. It is a lot more white around here than it has been all winter. Kathy, that's right. We did not get the ice like we thought we would. There was some freezing rain kind of intermixed within some of the snowfall that we were getting. But no, nothing like we had to do in years prior, where if I'm looking at this kind of shift door leading into a habitat here, I wouldn't even be able to see into the habitat because pretty much those 4x4 holes, the 2x4 holes were all caked and covered. So every habitat was its own kind of armored fortress, if you will. And I see Sarge taking advantage of his platform, or rather his skywalk. Hey, handsome. Let's see if I can get a good angle, Sarge. Oops, I'm not getting hooked up here. I'll try to get a good angle, handsome. And I think this is a good credit as to kind of how the snow kept coming. Sarge, I personally got your skywalks and platforms spotless, and it looks like the snow caught up with us over the day, so we'll have to catch back up with that. But regardless, glad that you're enjoying it. Looks like you just had your meal, maybe. He says I'm getting a little grooming done. Karen Daughtry, where you were, you had about three-quarter inches of freezing rain, lots of trees down, and over 200,000 without power. Yowzer, Karen, I'm ashamed to say, I'm afraid, what part of the country are you in? I haven't even seen those types of headlines. So wherever you are, I hope you're staying safe. Hope you're one of the ones with power. That's no fun. Certainly flashbacks of last year when I hear things like that. I still drive down. There's little bobcat Morgan who lives with Sarge, and Archer on the other side of him, or her rather. Is I still drive down our road here leading up to the sanctuary, and we'll see a lot of curved trees left over from that nasty storm last year. So, yeah, not only did it damage the habitats, but it damaged, a lot of the flora here in northern Minnesota, which was certainly hard to see. But there's Archer strutting his stuff in front of Morgan. Oh, and I think he's gonna pounce and chase after Copper into their indoor bedroom. Typical Bobcat Morgan here. She wants to have her cake and eat it too, as the saying goes. She lives with two handsome male bobcats, Sarge and Glenn. She also wants the love and affection and attention from the neighboring male bobcats, Copper and Archer. So we're glad that she gets that validation, that much deserved validation from those boys. Hey, Maria Stahl, glad to have you with us. And hey, Faith, glad to have you with us too. Yeah, Sarge doesn't seem to mind the snow on his catwalks. That's right, and that's what's kind of cool to see, participating in the snow removal process yesterday and the day before, is that obviously we want to work efficiently, because if we're in there shoveling and cats don't have access to their habitat because it hasn't been shoveled, that means that we, Archer, want to work as fast as possible to get that cat back out into their habitat, which means, for example, Olivia, hey, Mr. Archer, Olivia tuned in with that live post in from Thor and Winona's habitat. And so for there, yep, we're going in and shoveling, but we're prioritizing a pathways on top, or rather pathways leading to the water buckets, and then clearing off the perches and platforms. We know cats like Winona and Thor are young, they're able, they're not one of our cats that have any type of mobility issues. They're the ones that are going to be able to crash through the snow, and we're not worried about them making their own pathways through the habitat, but we want to make sure that they're not going to slip off their platform, where that could be dangerous for them. But obviously I have a cat like Claud over here. He's one of our three-legged residents. He's one where we're going to go into the habitat. We're not only going to clear the perches and platforms like I was just talking about, but we're going to make sure that we're giving pathways to Claud, because life is already hard enough for Claude. He has 3 legs. Look at Archer blazing or rather Copper down here blazing trail. we're going to make sure that Mr. Claud is able to navigate his habitat despite the snow and despite him having those special mobility needs. So there's kind of different ways to slice the shoveling. Certainly, many of our cats being younger, think of the Ukraine Lion Pride, they've just been crashing around their habitat. I think they're going and doing some detail shoveling today on the perches and platforms. But lots to get done regardless, even when there are kind of different ways that we're shoveling the habitats. But exactly right, Carrie Miller, helps to keep the tripods safe. And you can think of other cats who have mobility issues, maybe some of our cats that are four-paw declawed, tragically. We want to make sure that they're able to navigate their habitats as well. It is worth mentioning out that, I kind of have egg on my face as I'm kind of talking about clearing the snow in habitats. Well, Copper and Archer, I think, are a good example of how we work with the cats. And if they don't want to lock in, as Copper and Archer do not like doing, that means that we will have to kind of get in their habitat at their own time. And again, it's worth kind of pointing out Copper and Archer, two able-bodied bobcats. You can see them kind of mowing through the snow there. That they're going to be able to use these spaces as they would. And when we're going to be able to get them in their bedroom, it's Mr. Archer here who can be a little shy about coming inside and shifting inside. Then we'll be able to go in and get that snow removal done. Are you two besties? I'm hearing some bobcat hums down there, and it looks like some zoomies are going to break out from this. And welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's enjoying their Wednesday today. Happy hump day. We are having ourselves a good old sanctuary stroll here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Some bobcat hijinks happening down below between Copper and Archer. We're kind of going to keep our momentum here and keep on exploring a snowy Wildcat Sanctuary. It's worth reminding that right now, as you're watching this post, donations are doubled for the rescues of the Wildcat Sanctuary. If you gave $5 right now, Mr. Copper would get one of those $5, as well as his best friend Archer. It's pretty cool to think that your donation is going twice as far now through April 30th. And it helps cats like Copper and Archer, and this week it also helps the people here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. We've been talking about our internship program. You would have kind of read about that in detail on our e-newsletter. Oh, look at this. Look at Sarge. I don't know if I've ever seen... Okay, Sarge is just plowing on by. I was going to say, I don't know if I've ever seen Sarge interact with the boys. They often kind of prefer their gal pal, Morgan. And I can tell Copper has a little bit of a wild hair up somewhere, chasing down his friend over here. Of course, just when I said I wanted to keep my momentum, Marcy Sanborn, adorabobs. That is quite accurate. And having the snow back, it's essentially like going into the ball pit, at the McDonald's growing up. It's that extra layer of cushion and padding that the cats get to have a little more rougher fun. All right, you two goofballs. Glad to see that Copper and Archer are enjoying themselves here. And Laura Kennedy asking, what does the headbutting mean? And I'd be interested to maybe find out specifically, but I just hazard a guess that it's just the boys showing affection for one another. Kind of just like you might see your domestic cats at home, kind of bumping and rubbing against each other, just letting each other know that I'm your pal and you're my pal. Look how marvelous you look in the snow, Copper. Alrighty. Saw a question, do the Lynx ever need help with their snow removal? And the answer to that would be yes. I think Beauty's a cat where she's younger. Beauty has all four of her claws. Beauty is able to kind of have limited snow removal, I could say, kind of how I described with Thor Jr. and Winona earlier in the post. Look at this Mr. Claud using his pathways as I was talking about. Hey, Mr. Handsome. But most definitely, it's a case-by-case basis. I was kind of mentioning earlier how one of our rescued Lynx, Ramsey, he tragically is four-pawed declawed. And Ramsey, just because he's a Canada Lynx, that doesn't mean that he's going to be able to safely navigate his habitat without the claws that he was given at birth. And obviously here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, we condemn any type of declawing on any type of cat, let alone a wild. Steps like that when we know Ramsey's going to be, and here's Mr. Autumn up here, when Ramsey's going to need a little more help from the people here. And I was kind of laughing to myself of, I think service dropped out for a moment, but Benson here, I kind of was walking this direction, and both him and Claude leading me into the bedroom, so they zoom in on Mr. Autumn. Well, and this is so funny, is I also was in this habitat doing some shoveling and cleared off all the perches and platforms. The snow kind of caught up with me. But for the life of me, I was up on that top skywalk where you see Autumn, and you can see that's the furthest that I could reach. And maybe I kind of helped Autumn out there. I left him a little snowy pillow, so he can safely navigate his skywalk getting up to his snowy pillow, and then he gets to enjoy his snowy pillow. So kind of laughing to myself, Autumn, I've been doing kind of like a play-by-play of what the shoveling was like the other day since I was able to participate in it. But glad to see you up there, Mr. Handsome Man. I would only assume that your surrogate brothers are somewhere around here. Alright, let's get out of there. As I mentioned at the beginning of the post, we are doing a bona fide sanctuary stroll, so if the internet gives us a little guff, please, please, please don't go anywhere for too long, because I won't be ending the live post. I will just be walking to find better connection. So here's Cheetah Erin, who's wondering what in the heck. She says, I went the whole winter without dealing with this stuff. And where did this come from? And typical Erin, she says, well, I think I'm just happiest without a human around. And I appreciate you, Erin, at least letting me look at your pretty little face for a moment. But those are one of the cheetah dens that we would have talked about this last fall. Hey, Erin, there you are. Where Erin, as well as neighboring cheetahs Kitu and Levani, typically Kitu and Levani snowbird up to our quarantine area. But as you know, with the ALC rescue and all types of stuff that were kind of keeping us busy this fall, we wanted to make sure that they had a responsible and warm outdoor space in their habitat. So this is actually pretty cool. That's electrical running down into the ground, buried electric. As with Kitu and Levani's, it is a custom den just for the cheetahs. You can see it has the thinner and taller door that's different than our other tiger bed boxes. But it looks like Erin's doing a little walk-in with one of the boys on the other side of the fence here. So let's see who she's walking with. And the cheetahs are so smart. They like their caretakers who come bearing food, and they aren't so wild about the humans. Let me zoom in one more time, because I feel like we just haven't seen these two handsome cheetahs in so long, and I appreciate everyone's patience. I'm kind of shooting through a fence here. But that looks like it's Levani who's walking our way, Kitu who just passed him. Obviously, these two cheetah boys, you might see them in snow and be a little shocked. Cheetahs in the snow. Certainly, this is now their third winter, which is wild to think about, and they've been able to acclimate just fine. But as I was talking about giving them those extra options, like that heated den, of course I move and Levani makes a U-turn. But their heated bedroom and, of course, this heated den that the boys took full advantage of, and then some. And then, of course, all made better by the pretty mild winter that we had. Let's head this direction, and maybe we can see some tigers and perhaps the three wild if they're out and about in their habitat. Ooh. A lot of unfamiliar feelings that are usually familiar, like what it's like to kind of crunch through some deep snow on a live post. And now I'm going to get out on the plowed road here. And unfamiliar feelings, what it's like to squint to look at the phone on a bright, white, sunny winter day. I think I'd be used to that in March of 2024, Miss Daisy. I'm being spied on, by the way, everyone. We're being spied on. If I kneel down real slowly, Miss Daisy, is that okay? I'm going to interject on myself before I introduce this stalking snowy tiger in front of me. I just want to welcome everyone. You are tuned in live to the Wildcat Sanctuary. It is a sanctuary snow day. Cats are enjoying about 11 inches of snow that the sanctuary has received over the last 48 hours. Worried that the storm was going to be a nasty one. It was still nasty, not as nasty as we thought it was going to be. Didn't damage the habitats or trees as much as it is last year. So we are enjoying ourselves. A good sanctuary stroll, kind of celebrating the fact that the snow wasn't too bad, too hard on the people or the cats or the property, and enjoying ourselves. So happy to have all of you along with us. I'll also remind you all that donations are doubled for cats like Daisy you see here. Gift of $5 turns into 10, 10 into 20, and so on. And we are just so thankful to be out and about and celebrating double donations rather, celebrating all the hard work that our interns and staff have been doing. Yeah, I'm coming over. Was that okay if I come under? Will you show me how deep the snow is? That's the first time I've fallen on a live post, Daisy. There's a faux rock that that we're able to turn the plumbing on. You can see how Daisy reacts when she sees I'm vulnerable. That turns the plumbing on. So maybe I will stick to the path because I don't want to be falling. Look at that. There's a first for everything. Oh, I am just fine. I had a big soft bed of snow behind me. But yeah, we have very smartly kind of hidden some plumbing under these faux rocks, and I just took a tumble over that one, Miss Daisy. Judson down. There we go. I had a scheduled snow angel on yesterday's live post. We'll call that a unscheduled snow angel. And Indy, you can tell she's been living next to Daisy, just taking a page right out of her book. And thank you everyone for making sure that I'm okay. I think it's more me flushed with embarrassment than anything. But here's Tigress Indy. Just as I said, a student of Daisy next door. Just wondering how to be as invisible and proficient as a stalker as Daisy is. What do you think of the snow, pretty lady? You got to experience some of this a little earlier in the season, but we've kind of been deprived of it. And I think a young tiger like you, who loves playing, who loves showing off, who loves enjoying their new rescued life, we'd think that you'd be missing out on this white stuff. So I'm glad you're getting a little of it, Miss Indy. But as you would expect, I don't think we could ever, try to top or match Indy's love for grass. That was a special moment that we all collectively got to enjoy of watching that live post, watching Indy come into a habitat with green grass for the first time. You were elated, and to be able to just kind of telegraph that emotion through Indy. Yeah, it looks like you love snow, but you really like the grass. Yeah. Thank you for the chuffs. Katie T asking, is Indy going to be a year this year? That's correct, Katie T. I would have to get her exact birth date. I'd hazard to guess that it's probably pretty soon. But that is a good thing to remember for sure. Oh yeah, Tanya remembers Indy the grass roller. How could you not? How could you not? Just scanning through a few more comments. I always appreciate everyone dealing with my radio silence. I'm making sure everyone's getting included. And again, thank you for everyone making sure I'm okay. I gotta stay away from the plastic rocks, Indy. Off we go. Let's see what Nova's up to. We'll see what Nova's up to. Wonder if her and Dash are up to no good. But all types of tiger footprints and tiger body prints all across Indy's habitat here. So she has been far from bored when it comes to this snowstorm that we've had the past 48 hours. So that's good to see with that pretty gal. Look at all that. Everyone reminiscing on Indy and her grass. And that's right, of thinking that Indy was one of those cats that just has a crazy story. Indy was being sold on social media. Authorities were able to step in. Oh, did I miss that whole tiger stalk? Authorities were able to step in, seize Indy from this individual, who was able to jail this person. Indy was then living at the awesome Southwest Wildlife Center, who has helped us with some other rescues, like Sky and Celine, for example, two bobcat kittens who were orphaned. And when she was living at this place at Southwest Wildlife in Arizona, she had a great habitat. But as you would imagine, it's Arizona, and it's Arizona, Nova, and they didn't have any grass. And so she had an awesome place. She had a pool. She had toys. But it wasn't until she came here to TWS that she had grass. I don't think I've ever received a more enthusiastic tiger greeting. Oh my word! I'm talking about Indy, but Nova's stealing the show here. Oh my word, pretty girl! You just have all the love to give and then some. My word. Yeah, not to confuse ourselves, this is now Indy, or rather, oh gosh, Judson. This is Nova. We're just talking about Indy here. But Nova just being a total ham. And I think, talk about first moments. I mean, I think I had, a good idea of what type of cat Nova would be just from that live post that Tammy did with her on the road. You see Nova sitting in her dog crate, playing with a red egg to her heart's content, them rescuing a dog during that rescue, during transport of Tiger Cub Nova, seeing her chuff back at the dog. The dog didn't chuff at you, Nova, but you chuffed at the dog. And just seeing those green eyes like we just saw looking back at her, it was kind of right then and there. I think we were all able to kind of collectively glimpse. You got some snow in your paws? Collectively, if I can speak, Miss Nova, collectively glimpse what it was going to be like to know a tiger like you as they lived wild at heart here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And it's been just what we expected. Absolutely lovely. We're so fortunate for it. Yeah, okay, yeah. Hot shot. Yep, that's right, Kathy. She was having a blast on the drive home of her rescue. I think Tammy must have done it at least one or two live posts from the road. Oh, this is nice. And just immediately you're able to see the type of character that Nova has really come to be here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And that's right. I think that's, a lot of us cat lovers, us animal lovers, that can be our knee-jerk reaction as we see a cat like Nova just on the other side of the fence from me. She's She's being as affectionate as, you could argue a domestic animal is. But the reality of the situation is understanding, what is being affectionate towards me. It's a tiger, it's a carnivore, it's an apex predator. Just because we see this as maybe being quote unquote affectionate, we know she's a social tiger. But never would I ever want to risk my safety or Nova's safety by going and petting her. And also, we don't want to risk our reputation here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. We've been able to do, you're getting snow in your paws. We've been able to do a lot of good for captive wildcats. And the last thing we want to do is tarnish our record by doing something reprehensible like petting or touching a tiger cub when not only, like I said, it's dangerous, but with many of our rescues are coming from situations where they've been exploited for props to be pets or what have you. Yes. So certainly as animal lovers and cat lovers, I understand that knee-jerk reaction, that tendency to say, well, what if I just, maybe if I just pet it right behind the ear. But just knowing that it is a kind of a zero-sum game, and here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, we are a no-contact sanctuary, and as you should advocate for what is a compassionate interaction with a wildcat, and that knowing that it's not touching one, and it's not owning one as a pet. And we have an awesome community here who goes out into the world and and tries to help right those wrongs. And we're so fortunate for it. Whoa! Yeah, I'm looking at a tiger shovel. We don't need a regular shovel. We just need Nova to go into every habitat. We're going to see what your neighbor's up to. Ooh, Kathy Silva. If I had a dime for every reel or TikTok that I saw of a big cat being mistreated and, on a chain leash or being pet, I'd be a rich man. I'd have enough to fund the Wildcat Sanctuary for the rest of our days. And yeah, it's totally frustrating when you see that type of stuff on your social media feed. And, I think the best thing that I say to everyone, I always ask to report it. If you hold the screen, it'll give you a little menu of options. You're able to report it. And I usually will choose, there you were, Dash, I couldn't even see you. I will usually report it for misinformation because it is misleading, as well as animal abuse. And if these platforms are going to be adhering to their safety standards and content standards, they should be taking down those types of posts. So the best that we can do is report them. I report them for misinformation or misleading because they're exactly that. And there's also the option for animal abuse, and that's one to do as well. I'm running out of breath in the deep snow as I talk, Mr. Dashers. But look at the size difference between you and little Miss Nova. And Tanya Toner, that is exactly right. What we say here at the Wildcat Sanctuary is to please keep the wild in your heart and not in your home. Life would be a lot different if more people could practice that type of mentality, that type of philosophy, and a lot more cats would be, not in the types of situations that they are, where we think about where Dash came from. We were talking about Indy's story earlier. There's lots we can avoid with a little change, Mr. Dash, and we've already made a lot of big change here for big cats in the United States. Globally, we still have a lot of work to be done for big cats, and right now here in the U.S., we're facing the small cat crisis, Mr. Dash, which just like we solved for the big cats, I'm thinking we can do it for the small ones too. But not without a little fighting. This is such a nice little snowy sit here. And if Dash will let me, I'm going to slowly get up. And what I would like to show you is Dash has a super duper big boomer ball, the biggest ball that we have on property. And bless Dash's heart, he has wedged it inside, or rather in between two posts that are holding up one of his platforms or perches. So I'm hoping Mr. Dash will let me. Can I walk this way? Is that okay? And just to look, I know I'm a little farther away from Nova here, but it's just amazing how much bigger you are than your neighbor. Okay. So there's Dash, but I want to show you his handiwork. He says, no, I'm embarrassed because I can't get it out. I got it stuck, but I can't get it out. But there's a big old boomer ball. I think you might have saw just a flash of it as Dash is, not wanting to have himself be embarrassed by that. But it looks like he's got it perfectly wedged in between the posts of the platform. And I saw it there yesterday and was laughing to myself, and glad that we're able to see it here for just a moment. Sarah Bloomberg asking, he's the one Tammy raised, right? That is correct. Dash is one of our miracle tigers here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, discovered on a rescue, and we were called to rescue 2 lions and 2 tigers from a breeding facility in Indiana. Yes, we were shocked to discover that Dash, wow, this hours-old tiger cub would be coming to live at Sanctuary as well. Wow, you are so crazy. And speaking of crazy, I'm going to go over here, Mr. Dashers, but I'm so glad we got to spend some time with you, handsome. There's a lot of people out there who care about you. But Tarek, up to no good. Talk about another tiger snowplow here. Tarek is really one of those cats who, he says, I can handle a little deep snow. I can march right through it. Took some really great photos of you the other day, Tarek, of when the snow first fell, and you were getting pretty excited. Look at that. So, and then look who is out enjoying their yard as well. It's Leopard Shazam. Hey, I see you, handsome. And I'm not sure where your girlfriend is. It's truthfully, I see Shazam, but I figured that she would be sitting along the shared wall with him, because usually she is. That's where she was earlier today. And Leo and Monza, I think that's the what's happening after lunch is they're doing Shazam's habitat and Leo and Monza's habitat. So I think Leo and Monza are shifted inside right now. But maybe we can go and take a left and see what the Pride is up to in Pride Prairie and Service Willing. Maybe even see Alana and Aurora. Alrighty. But just as I said, everyone, we are having a bona fide sanctuary stroll. We are all the way down here in Wild Woodlands here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Started up in Wildcat Pines. You've seen anybody from Aria and Mondovi, Bobcat and Lynx pair, to hanging out with Dash, Nova, Indy. Got to see Daisy for a little bit before I tripped over a rock. But definitely lots of things that we're not used to seeing here at the sanctuary. Big snow piles. While we come up on some equipment stage outside of habitats that people are going to be doing some snow removal with. But a lot has been happening here as winter kind of reared its head for what I would, argue maybe the first time all winter here in Minnesota. But I appreciate everyone's patience while I'm kind of covering some ground here. I know that Noah and Elizabeth have access. We're putting out some Easter enrichment for those two today, and I don't know if you're able to tell, but it's very windy. And kudos to my media interns for making awesome enrichment, but tragically the wind got the best of our Easter enrichment. Alrighty, so you can see some snowblowers staged outside of the 5 Wild and 3 Wild's yard. As you can imagine, there is a lot of ground to cover in there. We want to make sure that both parties have plenty of pathways to walk down. But let's go across the way, and I think I'd like to start out with Gino and Sofi right over here. They just had their habitat shoveled this morning. And then we'll be able to maybe see Noah for a moment, and then we can check in on the Ukraine Pride. And then that might be our sanctuary stroll. We kind of did exactly what I said, from Wildcat Pines to Pride Prairie. All right. Getting my steps in too, and I like it. Sofi kind of cruising around some of the pathways that have been shoveled in her yard. I'll give her a second to get comfortable. Hey, pretty girl. Hey. I think, Carrie Miller, I'm laughing at your comment here. Your stroll turned out to be a bit of a trek today. Thanks for taking us along. I think that's right. Maybe I should, make sure I'm classifying these things correctly. A sanctuary stroller is kind of our regular live post. We'll have to call these real big ones the sanctuary treks. Had to pack a camelback with me, maybe even. KDT, kind of saying the feeling that we are all so thankful for. So happy to see mother and son reunited after so many years apart. And truly, truly, after so many years apart. Gino did live with Kimba and Sofi at a very, very young age, but until, Kimba was starting to kind of had some adverse interactions with Gino. Gino was then living in a different part of the zoo. I know that it was 11 years on the button for Leo and Mansa, two lions that were reunited here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. But I couldn't tell you the exact years, but it might have even, it was a pretty darn long time, essentially, that these two had once lived together, then weren't living together, and now are back together. So there's Sofi, and then handsome Gino up high on his platform there. And certainly you know that every rescue here at the Wildcat Sanctuary, whether they enjoy the snow, whether they don't mind it, or whether they're not so fond of it, every single one of our rescues has access to a temperature-controlled indoor bedroom. So you can see that pathway leading right up to that shift, which leads right into this indoor bedroom. So a cat like Sofi, she can get her fresh air, and she can go inside and get warm and toasty as well. And that's not to mention some of the outdoor options as well, like the den box you see over there. Now, I'm kind of laughing to myself because usually I'm the bee's knees when it comes to, kind of getting the attention of the Ukraine Pride. So if you can look, I see a lion looking directly out. They could give, they couldn't even care that I'm here. And what they're looking out onto is the perimeter fence. And sometimes within that perimeter fence, there can be little wildlife that, will be kind of stalking through the woods. So I'm slightly wondering, and Taras is kind of moseying his way over here, but I'm slightly wondering if there was a little wildlife sighting made by one of the sisters down the way. So while they're having their kind of planet Earth moment, looks like Taras is sauntering his way through the cave. Prada's up here as well, so that's going to be Stefania and Lacia in the back. Well, maybe Prada will come in and say hi to me. She says, well, I think I was just napping in my indoor bedroom. I didn't even know anybody was here. And I think your sisters are spying on something over there. I'm not sure what. Lisa Henderson, squirrel! Pretty much that. Pretty much that. Oddly enough, sometimes deer will even kind of get it within that perimeter fence and the exterior fence. And so I've seen Alana and Aurora, where they used to live over in Feline Meadows, them stalk a deer, and boy, they were having a see. I'd like to go and say hi. Here's Taras. I'd like to go and say hi to Noah across the way, and then I think we will call that a sanctuary trek for the day. A little vocalization from Taras there. Look how just much that mane is coming in. And I really think it's on the chest is what's, is going to really start to stand out to us. I think a lot of us go to kind of noticing the hair on top of the head, noticing, speaking of hair on top of the head, but it's really going to be that chest that I think is just going to be the big standout in terms of how much that mane is coming in. I think your sister's going to get you. Yeah, she says, don't do that. And typical kind of pride communication. Taras giving Prada maybe a little bit of a nip that she wasn't too fond of. And Prada giving a little bit of a vocalization. Taras obliging and not pushing any buttons, and we like seeing that. And Daria, of course, I'm so happy to be cruising around, and even better that we've been able to check in on some sponsor babies. Unfortunately, the Five Wild looks like their yard is next up to be snowblowed, so just know that Denoma will be enjoying some awesomely shoveled pathways here shortly, even though we didn't get to see them on the live. All right, let's go see what that handsome tiger Noah is doing across the way, and then I will let everyone go for the day. But I will still ask to stay close to our page today. We're talking about a Miracle Match memory that's very special to me. Shy Bear, one of our domestic Bengal rescues. Today is her day to shine. And, well, in my world, it's every day's day for Shy Bear to shine. And I even have a lovely little portrait that was painted of Shy Bear by Casey, who's done a lot of artwork for some pieces for Tammy in the Sanctuary. So we made a post on Miss Shy Bear. You could learn about her and kind of just profiled Shy Bear in general. And then we're going to be making another post about, well, Shy Bear was what's the phrase? She had a little je ne sais quoi. She had many a cat boyfriend. And so we're going to be posting on Shy Bear and her unique ability to garner all the all the male cat companions in the Welcome Center. So she was a very special cat. I know that so many of you got to tune in and see how Shy Bear was special in many of our lives in the office here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. Very special to Tammy. I remember just some of the stories that Tammy would tell about Shy Bear when they lived together in the Welcome Center, and how Shy Bear was either seen nor heard, and then slowly coming out of her shell. Those evolutions are just so cool to hear and see, and she's a very special cat. Speaking of special cats, what's going on here? He says, well, yeah, I'm cozied up, and I got a front row seat for the Lions having a blast. What else would you expect me to be doing? And Elizabeth is up on one of her tallest platforms too, so that is just so funny. So Noah, he says, all right, I'll go down low, you can go up high. And then Elizabeth, way across the woods with me here. There she is. I can barely see you, Miss Elizabeth, but it looks cozy. And a nice clean platform for a special tiger. Watch out for the rocks. Thank you, Betty. Thank you. All right, everyone. Wow, from Wildcat Pines all the way down to Feline Meadows, we covered a lot of ground here. And I'm thankful everyone got to join in, and love Daria hearing some sponsors that she got to see, and people just getting excited to see some that we haven't seen in some time. So And thank you again for making all things Wildcat Sanctuary what they are. Know that right now we are striving to fulfill our third wish of Miracle Match, which is to helping create and sustain our internship program here at the Wildcat Sanctuary. And we're hoping to raise funds enough for 3 intern stipends for a full year. Mr. Noah, that's a large amount. That's a big amount, almost as big as you, Mr. Noah. And yeah, you got a little snow. I see it stuck on your belly right there. I bet that feels a little funky. But thank you all for following along with that, as well as Miss Shy Bear later today, and of course all things Miracle Match. Lots of messaging, Mr. Noah. But in the meantime, have a great week and tomorrow. Bye, everyone.